Hello and welcome back to Tammy's Antique Vintage Dolls and More. And today we're coming with you with a video that's of a different flair, but it's going to be still good all the same. So I'm going to read a poem first. It's called In the Town, Indian Children. Where we walked to school each day, Indian children used to play, all about our native land, where the shops and houses stand. And the trees were very tall, and there were no streets at all, not a church, not a steeple, only woods and Indian people. Only wigwams on the ground, and at night bears prowling round. What a different place today where we live, work, and play. This poem was written by Annette Wynne. Now today what we're going to do, we're going to examine something different. I went to an early yard sale on Friday, and I picked up something that reflects my childhood. John doesn't remember them, but I do. And I think because at that time, John is about 5 to 6 years older than me, and so they're a little bit past him, but in my childhood range. So anyways, John, do you want to start with your, over there? Yeah, that one there, yeah.
Okay, what we have here, this is no ordinary rock. What this is an Indian tomahawk head. The reason you can tell that it's just not an ordinary rock is because of the shape of it. See how it's narrow here, and then it gets wider? What they would do is take a stick, and then they would just drill a hole big enough for this part to fit in, and then they would hammer it in the rest of the way until it was locked right onto the stick, so that it couldn't come out. It's just locked right in there forever. And there's some controversy about, also to prove that this is an arrowhead, see how it's pointed there, how they shaped it, the point, and then you can see how this has been ground down smooth on that side. This was ground down smooth on that side. This here, who knows how many hundreds of hours they had to work on this just to make it look like that. And the sad part about it though is all these chips that are out of it, even the cutting edge is just all totally smashed and chipping away. And all this here, this is from discs and plows hitting it, hammering away at it. And here you can see a really big gouge where something dragged across it. And so if this was left in the field very much longer, it would have been nothing but a dozen pieces of stone.
One thing I'd like to say, and just interject here, is both John and I share Native background. John has Cree background, I have Mohawk. And one of the things about this is that this is a hobby that John and I started back right when, actually, while we were dating. John introduced me to it. And he took me out to his family farm where we found our first arrowhead. He did. He found, because me, one stone looked the same as the next. My eyes were not trained yet where his were. And so anyways, one stone meant nothing to me. So I didn't know what I was looking for. And when he found that, that's when the fever of this came out of me, that I wanted to find my own one day. And then we got married and we started doing this as a weekend thing here and there. Whenever we could afford the time, we were out. What were we doing, John? Arrowhead hunting, or out on a boat down the river.
Oh yeah.
You know,
we should have started this video with a big warning, warning, warning flashing across the screen, because arrowhead hunting is addictive.
Yes.
Once you start finding things, it just takes you right over every day of your life. You just want to go out in the field and find more and find more.
Yes. So I wanted to interject and put that in there. This is the reason why it's something that both him and I could enjoy together, be together, and you know, like I say, enjoy together, to be together. So anyways, carry on, John. Sorry.
And so we have one other hatchet I want to show you. This here is the creme de la creme of our Indian hatchets here. You can see how, if I turn it in the light, see how the light is shining off of it. This, see how it's been flattened on that edge there, and then flattened on that edge there. And see on this side, I'm not sure why, but it's totally flat on that side. And then on this side, it's rounded. If there's anybody that's more of an expert at these artifacts, please comment and tell us why they would be round on one side and flat on the other. And getting back to being destroyed by the farming equipment, you can see on this one here, the great big chunk busted out of it here. If this had been left, this beautiful artifact would be just, well, looking like that, or even worse.
Okay.
And so Tammy has one other thing to show.
So here is a piece of pottery. Now, as you look at the pottery, you see that they took a lot, they have a lot of lines going on it. Some are vertical, some are horizontal. If we flip the pottery over, the clay over, you'll see that it's black. Now, there's reason for this black on there. First, we'll talk about that, and then we're going to flip it back over again and talk about the lines on it. One of the things with the black is, what made it like that is also, yes, the cooking of it, but also they salted their food, and the salt also turned the pottery black. If in the right sunlight, you can still see flecks of salt on this pottery. If we were outside and I could shine it properly so you could pick it up, you would see salt that's still in there.
And you need a magnifying glass
to see it. Sometimes, but sometimes I can see little flecks even in the sunlight, just with the bare eye, from time to time, just depending. Now, also, if you were to put your tongue on it, if you wanted to, you could. You can sometimes still taste the salt on the pottery. Okay, just letting you know that. You can. I've done it, and yes, I have tasted the salt because I wanted to do it. Now, the other side. Now, let's flip the other side down. Let's take a look at the lines. What do these lines tell us? There is something that the tribe that did this, what were they trying to tell us? And what was going on in their lives at the time? Let's talk about the lines first, and then a piece of pottery with no lines. When you have a piece of pottery with lines that are going horizontal and vertical, little marks put onto them, what that tells us is that the tribe was healthy. They had time for recreation. They had time to relax. They were not mobile. They were actually sitting, and they were able to just be themselves. And to fill time up, they made some pottery, and they were able to decorate it. And a piece of pottery with no lines would be actually the opposite. They were in strife. They could be in war. They were on the move. Maybe health. Maybe there was something going on in the tribe that was unhealthy for them, with sickness, whatever. Those things would tell you that there was stress, and wherever there is stress, that recreational part goes downward, and they're not going to be able to sit and just decorate. They are working. They are in busyness. It could be crop time, and pottery coming out, making pottery is just make the pottery and preserve their food with the salt. And so there's stories to be told when you find pottery this decorated, that there was a lot going on at the time, that they were able to sit and to have fun and be creative. And that's one thing about natives. They are very creative people, very intelligent people, and they knew how to survive and live. Now, what we're about to show you next is what we pulled out of boxes of broken arrowheads. We have more broken arrowheads than we have beautiful arrowheads. So why I'm showing this to you, this is going to be part one, everybody, okay, and then there'll be a part two. Why I'm showing this to you is that when you see these arrowheads here, these are ones that got rusty from the plow. The plow damages them. The plow will crumble them up and crunch them to the point you won't even ever know there was an arrowhead there. All you will see is just flint sitting in the ground. Once your eye becomes accustomed and what you're looking for, you can start pulling them up one at a time, everywhere. Where's the best place to find arrowheads? We have a lot more ability to find arrowheads up on sandy soil. That is where the tribe made them. Why on sandy soil? Sandy soil drains. Therefore, the tribe will stay healthier because it's drier. And if you go down into the clay beds, where probably the marshes were, that's where they were shooting their arrowheads. We will find them also in the clay, but your vast majority we always find is up on the sandy hills. and because that's where they made them and they rested them, and that's where we find a lot of them. And but have we found them in the clay? Sure we have. It does happen, but our vast majority, again, I got to come back to it, it's always up on the sandhills. So anyhow, John, this is the next thing we'll go to here. Now what you're going to see here is a variety of all different kinds of arrowheads here. We have drilling tools, another tomahawk or axe head is what they call them also. They can be known as axe heads. We have all kinds of where they're called stunning, where they would stun the animal and then go up and kill the animal because they didn't want to penetrate the fur. They would kind of knock the animal out a little bit, you know, and pelt them with them, and then they go kill the animal afterwards. Some are actually meant for piercing the animal itself. So just depending on what you're looking at here. We also have musket balls here as well. We are in the area of the 1812 war, so we can find musket balls big time here. So this is just a variety of everything that we have that we found. And now we're coming up to the pictures here. We like to catalog where we find stuff. And you'll see pictures here of the farmland where we were walking the fields, just walking fields. This is a picture of me back in 1983, I would say. And within the first, we were married in 82, so between 82 and 83, this is me pointing or ready to pick up. I don't know if I'm pointing or I'm pointing to an arrowhead there.
Yeah. And then here is where you're about to pick one up.
Yeah, this is one that you tell them that one.
Okay, one thing we like to do is if we see an arrowhead, like we don't dig. Farmers hate it if you start digging. So if you get permission from a farmer to go onto the field, that's the first thing. You can get sued for trespassing if you just go onto a farmer's land. Talk to the farmer first. And so these arrowheads are just lying right on top of the ground. Here is a picture right here. They just lie like that. After they get rained on, the dirt washes away and the arrowhead's just left standing there. And now, what we also like to do, sorry for the distraction there, we like to take a picture of the arrowhead before we pick it up. So what that means is this arrowhead here has never been touched by human hands for hundreds of years. The first human being to pick up this arrowhead was Tammy. And so this here is just a few different, this is a forest where, see, you can see the sandy soil there, and whenever you see a little bit of a hill, you gotta keep in mind that if you see a hill in a farmer's field that's maybe 3 feet high today, that same sand hill would have been 30 feet high 500 years ago. And so that's why you find the arrowheads on the sand hills, is so that's where they were, high and dry, able to set up camp, able to chip away their arrowheads and carry on with their business.
Okay, so this is part 1. We're going to come back with part 2 and we'll show you why we're bringing this all out. So we thought we'd share this part, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.